r/AskReddit. Posted by orb_itsoob. What's a rule that was implemented somewhere, that massively backfired? My city has issues with loud bikes, vehicles. So as a deterrent, the city put up decibel meters that displayed how loud your engine is, similar to those signs that read your speed and display it to you, but instead of deterring anyone, people would pull up to these signs and rev the heck out of their engines to see who could get the highest decibel count. The city took the counters down within a week. I work in manufacturing and we get paid piece rate, so the more I run the more I get paid. We also have a base hourly pay rate of $10 per hour, so whichever pays more, the hourly or the piece rate, is what we get paid for the day. On bad days, sometimes they bump us to $12 per hour for the day, and when we train new people we get paid $15 per hour to compensate for having to slow down or stop our machines to teach the new people. The big boss, my boss, came in last week. Now he used to work on the line like I do now, but you can tell he's living comfortably in his corporate life and has forgotten some of the bad parts of this job. He told my boss that we are to no longer receive training pay because, by his logic, if we are working with someone we should be making more than $15 per hour, anyway. And these past 3 weeks or so we have been doing a lot of training. So a few of us got together at the end of the day and agreed, if they aren't paying us, we won't train people. We will teach the new people enough to make us some money and leave the training to the designated trainers. 2 people split between 15 or so new hires, but they make $17.50 per hour. The policy lasted 4 days. Buddy of mine told me about a happy hour promotion a bar ran close to his campus. Apparently the special was something stupid like 50-cent beers that lasted until the first person went to the bathroom. As he tells it, the first few weeks went without incident, but once it got more popular, people were going to extreme lengths to not be that guy, including wearing adult diapers. Once people tried to covertly PSSSS in corners and trash cans, the bar cancelled the promotion. This was a real thing in a hooligans bars in Costa Rica about 15 years ago. You paid a low entrance fee, and could drink all you wanted before someone had to take a PSSS. At first, people started going out of the bar to PSSSS on the mall's public bathrooms. So, once you went out, you couldn't come back. If you had to go out to take a phone call, you were screwed. This promotion went for long, until problems aroused between people inside trying to take a PSSS and others trying to avoid it. Also, the infamous Barbados vs Grenada soccer match. The organizers of the 1994 Caribbean Tournament Cup had a rather odd change to the rules for extra time. If a game was still drawn at full time, it would go to extra time, but the first goal scored would win. This is perfectly normal. The golden goal rule. What was different is that they ruled that winning this way would count as having won by 2 goals for the purpose of tournament qualification, instead of just 1. Barbados went into a match against Grenada needing 2 goals to qualify for the main tournament. If they lost, or won by only 1 goal, Grenada would qualify instead. Under the regular rule, this would mean that if the match went to extra time, there would basically be no point Barbados playing, because even if they scored, they would only win by 1 goal, and not qualify. But the 2-point rule would motivate them to play on. Sound good? Well, you might be able to guess what happened. The match looked like it was about to end with Barbados 2-1 Grenada, a win for Barbados, but not the 2 goals they needed. So Barbados deliberately scored an own goal in the last few minutes of the match, making the score 2-2, hoping to trigger extra time and a chance to score the magic 2-value goal. The Grenada players quickly realized they could do the same, score an own goal to make the match 3-2 to Barbados, which would have Barbados winning by only 1 goal, so Grenada would qualify. But the Barbados players realized that too, and so they began to defend Grenada's goal. So for the last 7 minutes of the match, Grenada were trying to score a goal in either net, since scoring a goal against Barbados would give them 3-2 and they would win the match. and scoring in their own goal would make it 3-2 to Barbados, so they would lose the match but win the qualification, and Barbados were defending both. Amazingly, Barbados did actually manage to do so, successfully defending themselves while half of their team were defending Grenada's goal against Grenada, and then scored the golden goal in extra time and qualified. The manager of Barbados said this: "I feel cheated. The person who came up with these rules must be a candidate for a madhouse. The game should never be played with so many players running around the field confused. Our players did not even know which direction to attack, our goal or their goal. I have never seen this happen before. In football, you are supposed to score against the opponents to win, not for them." One of the funniest things I've ever read about. There was a Radiolab podcast about a similar situation, the preliminary rounds of badminton in the Olympics. It was 2 Asian women's teams, and the way the bracket worked out, the winners would play a very difficult team and the losers would play a much easier team and still be in the running for gold. So both teams spent the whole time trying to lose. They got booed. I'm pretty sure they were all disqualified. But it brought up the larger concept of strategy. Super interesting edit. I want to add that they were both very athletically trying to lose, diving all over the floor and such. It wouldn't have been as entertaining just watching 2 teams suck, but the skill it can take to lose could be wicked fun to watch. To your point, my last job got a new facility head. She didn't like the fact that we wore shorts in a kitchen in the summer when temps would get over 100. She made a new rule that shorts weren't allowed, but skirts were fine. My supervisor told me I didn't have the stones to wear a skirt to work. I am a male. Guess who showed up to work the best day in a skirt? The new rule lasted about a month before the new leader got tired of cross-dressers running around the facility. Once I started it, all the other guys started wearing skirts as well. I do not miss that place. I used to work at a semiconductor lab, looking for defects in computer chips with an electron microscope. The work is complicated, precise, and easy to fuck up. One wrong move, and the sample is toast. A lip, lost in processing. As they say in the biz, management got really angry at lips and started clamping down really hard on technicians who did them. If you F up a sample, you got written up. The problem is that not all jobs are created equal. Some jobs are really easy, and other jobs are really hard and risky. So, the smart technicians started taking all of the easy jobs, and the idiots who didn't know any better started taking all of the hard jobs. The lip rate then went up, and it created a really contentious atmosphere in the lab of people screwing each other over to take the easiest jobs. Morale plummeted, and people started leaving to go to other groups that weren't ish sandwiches. This drove lab output down even further. It baffles me how many times people see product loss as something that you should be punishing employees for. Yes, it's the simple answer, but it's never the right answer, unless you're talking about something like just straight up theft. It's a matter of starting with the wrong question. The management asks, how do we stop this mistake from being made? But with no other baseline, the only answer is punish employees for making the mistake. Instead, they need to be asking, why is this mistake being made? Which leads to then doing a deeper dive into the actual issue at hand and, hopefully, working with their employees to figure out better ways to avoid those incidents. Worked for a warehouse 4 days a week, 11 am 9:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday. They reiterated many times during the interview process that overtime was optional. My first day, my supervisor told me that overtime is indeed optional, but if you don't stay for overtime, then everybody else has to stay even later. So if you do leave on time, don't come back, whatever. I didn't mind the extra hours too much, although a 5-hour shift is already long, but the bonus was that we could go early if all the orders were done. As you can imagine, the good workers busted their ass from start to finish, cutting as many corners, good and bad ones, as they could in order to get out early. Normally this ended up with us being able to leave around 15 minutes early, or on a really good day where the stars aligned, everybody showed up, we could leave as early as 7:30 or 8. However, leaving that early only happened once or twice a year at most. Overtime was every week. Every single Monday we would work until 2 a.m. 11 am. 2 am isn't ideal when you have no idea when you're off. At around 7 p.m. we'd start to get an idea if we're in for another hour or another 6. One of the genius new hires mentioned to the boss in the office how he was hoping to get out by 6. Oh good. Apparently the boss was thinking us leaving early was a common occurrence now and decided that nobody was going to be leaving early anymore. Sweep or dust or whatever, but nobody leaves until 9:30. All of a sudden we were late every single day without fail. Why? We were working our asses off to get out early but failing every day and ending up on time, or still late, by taking away our ability to leave early. Everybody gave up working hard. Slow down, we've got another hour left anyways. I'm not sweeping. Went from about 45 hours a week to 55. 13 hours every day. Nobody ever left early anymore, but nobody left on time either. Losses for everybody involved because the boss didn't realize that us leaving early for 2 days out of a year actually gave us the daily motivation to work our asses off the other 360 TL. Dr. Boss put a stop to leaving early. No incentive to work our asses off anymore means paying overtime every day. Air pollution became a big problem in late 80s/early 90s Athens, mostly due to the number of old, heavily polluting cars on the roads. So the Greek government made a law where only cars with odd-numbered final digits on their number plates, 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9 etc. could be driven on odd-numbered days, 1st, 3rd, 5th etc. And only evenly numbered cars could drive on evenly numbered days. Sounds great, doesn't it? They'll halve the number of cars on their roads, right? Nope, they doubled it. Everyone bought one old, highly polluting car that had an odd-numbered plate and another with an even-numbered plate. Nobody could park and the air was worse than before. My company had an injury, in a facility in a different country no less, that resulted in lost time. The guy was hammering on an adjustable wrench because the nut was too tight. Instead on banning stupidity, they decide to ban adjustable wrenches in every facility. All fine and dandy except we don't have wrenches at our machines, because everyone just uses an adjustable wrench. About 3 weeks into buying thousands of wrenches they decided adjustable wrenches were safe again and stopped buying us regular wrenches. In an attempt to discourage surfing during work hours in 50s Australia, the government brought into effect a law which stated that any man surfing before 5 p.m. would have to do so in a dress. This prompted more people than would usually be surfing during the daytime to don their wives' dresses and head down to the beach and surf for the couple of weeks the law existed. Edit: can't use a timestamp on my phone, but from 23 meters to 25 meters is when this situation is brought up. As some people have pointed, this was only a local law, not a national one. Apologies for misremembering some fact. I haven't watched that documentary in a few years. The beach club I worked as a cabana boy at decided one summer to buy $40,000 worth of club umbrellas. The old system was that you as a cabana boy had 30 to 60 families who you took care of in exchange for tips. One of your responsibilities was to carry whatever heavy beach equipment they bought, Tommy Bahama chairs and umbrellas, from the cabana to the ocean and set it up, and then carry it back up to the cabana at the end of the day. If you left chairs or umbrellas on the beach, the club supervisors would charge you $1 per item because they would have to carry it to avoid the stuff from getting washed away, broken or stolen by locals. It was a pretty fair and workable system. The new system was that members still had their own chairs, but would request a number of umbrellas from the cabana boy. Obviously, they requested way more than they would ever need or buy themselves, and the club umbrellas were extra heavy and exhausting to set up. We complained to management about this and a lot of other stuff, but they basically just said F you to us. Well, That didn't exactly inspire us to do them any favors, considering most of our pay came from the members. Since all the umbrellas looked the same, we would just take the chairs and leave the umbrellas on the beach and no one would know who was supposed to be responsible for picking them up. The supervisors simply couldn't get them all and almost all of them wound up broken or missing by the end of the summer. Whoops, DLDR. Beach Club got new equipment that caused a lot of extra work without giving us any additional compensation or tools to deal with the work. All the new equipment ended up getting trashed.